This is going to be me rant for a sec. Real rant. Who the fuck puts an in-game key to an in-game activity on the PvE level on a bind on motherfucking pickup by a crafter? Whose bright idea at Amazon? Good morning, Zio here. And today, or actually, no, it's afternoon. I'm recording this after 2:00 p.m. on a Monday. Yeah, like video recorded on same day. Doesn't happen often. So actually it happens like every other Monday when I can get to it if I'm not working. But yeah, grab yourself some stuff. Get this stuff, or tea if that is your preference. That's fine. I will totally accept that today. But grab yourself some coffee, sit back, relax, and you know what? Let's just get into it, shall we? So, today we'll be talking about New World. I have been trying to do this video for like the past 2 weeks now. Like, seriously, the past 2 weeks. And I haven't gotten around to doing it. Yeah. So we're doing it today. I mean, now it's kind of... By now, they've fixed a lot of these things, of course, I'm sure. But anyway, before that and everything else... Got a TikTok, I've got a Twitter, all that good jazz. Go follow around and do all that good stuff. You know, hit me up everywhere, whatever. You know, if you do the TikTok thing, then that means you can respond to me about things and tag me in it in like a short video thing, which is, I think is kind of a cool and a fun thing to do. And then we can somehow maybe one day incorporate that into the YouTube Fruit Lab side of things. But yeah, anyway, aside from that, I do want to apologize for the past few weeks. It has been very, very hard for me to get to sit down and actually do anything outside of just playing something for a few minutes, because work has been very, very, it's been very busy. I guess that's the best way to put it. And it gets worse and more. It gets even more worse the closer to the end of the year that we get. Now that we've hit Halloween, just had Halloween, we've got the turkey side, and then we have the Christmas stuff that's going to come down. So work is going to get exponentially much worse. And because of other things that, you know, it really tick me off, I'm going to be putting in some vacation time at the end of the year. So from the 26th to like the 2nd or something of the start of the new year, I'm just going to take a vacation. Now I'm going to be doing this, and I do plan to stream during that time, of course. So, you know, feel free to join me for all that good stuff as we ring in the new year. Now that that's out of the way, that took me about all but, what, 2.5 minutes? Yeah, New World. I was wrong, horribly wrong. See, over on the Twitter side, I had posted something a few weeks ago. You know, I've been looking at New World, and, you know, everybody was super excited about it, and it's fun. You know, I think it's a great game. However, it didn't seem anything to be, it didn't stand out, right? I guess is the best way to put it. It wasn't going to be the next WoW killer or the next Final Fantasy 14 or anything like that. You know, even though WoW itself is killing itself on its own terms, you know, it's not actually really adding into that, in my opinion. And this, of course, is from Amazon, and Amazon's track record is not the best in the world. They've got a lot of canceled projects, a lot of projects that have gone bad, and the longer it went on, I came to the conclusion that I was horribly wrong. You know, New World is not okay. It is not average. In fact, it's atrocious. It's bad. It's really, really, really bad. And how they could do that, release this product in that state, just, it astounds me. So I'm going to go over a lot of notable things that have been wrong with New World, and I can't help but just be like, you know, if you need a case study on things not to do when you launch your new first top of the line AAA MMO, these are probably the things to look out to. So over on my right side, I had Notepad open and I was making notes for this, right? To do this video so I can make sure I touched on all the things. And I'm not going to touch on all the things, mainly because some of the things did get fixed. And we're not going to touch to it as depth as it is. Second, of course, I decided, does anyone else have a list like this floating around? And sure does. Reddit, of course. Oh gosh, I'm gonna die. Yeah, I died. I'm so glad you were here to see me die. That was fun. Anyway, yeah. Too much talking and drinking at the same time does not work very well. Anyway, I'm okay. How are you today? I hope you're fantastic. So we're gonna go over some things, right? New World is kind of a broken mess, and we're gonna go ahead and we'll start with this trading post thing, right? Because it's up here at the top. You've got the market and all this other stuff, and it has a litany of things, and we are not going to talk about all this. This post will be linked if you want to go and read it all. This is a lot to read, and we know I can't read. I'm dyslexic, and I can't read words sometimes. So here's the long and the short. Trading sucks. There's also times where if you're logged out and your stuff is sold on, the auction house type thing, I'm going to keep calling auction or market board, or probably auction house out of default because of WoW. But, if you have stuff on and it sells and something happens or whatnot, there's a good chance that you don't actually get your money for it because they've messed that up, of course. Housing decoration score, which is not something I really know a whole lot about, but when it does come to the housing itself, apparently people are losing their houses and stuff as well when they've logged out for various reasons as well. Another thing we'll touch on real quick is the forms. Before we go into it, this isn't really a bug, but this is probably the most asinine way of going about doing it, because if you go in to report a bug, they want you to list how to perform the bug in a way to where it can be replicatable, right? This way you don't just say, well, there's this issue with X where this is happening. If you don't know how it's happening, that's fine. Then they can try and look into it or whatnot. But if you can actually tell them how you made it go this way, it makes it easier for them to attempt to replicate, to attempt to fix. And I got that, and I understand that, right? That's something that is helpful to the developers. But they actually list that stuff for everybody to see. It would be one thing if you had that in the ticket or whatnot and it went to the developer side, and then you can go and read, say, the bug reports here and say there's a bug with X, but it doesn't actually tell you how to replicate it on the for the client, for the people. However, it does actually list that, so then everybody has access to that bug and can continue to perform it until they fix it. Because, okay. Anyway, my glasses keep sliding now. So, you've got houses, there's issues with that when you log out, that it may not be there, or any changes you've done haven't saved and all this other stuff. So that's another issue. Invasions. Let's see. Invasions is the one thing. I'm trying to think of what it is. You can, of course, kick anyone you want as a general intent, but there's no way to stop proposed invasions. You can only put 10 people in invasions, which leaves room for... Okay, yeah, this is the PvP one. I keep getting them mixed up, right? Because they sound like other things that I've played, and I keep calling them the other names, and we know that's a problem with me, right? So invasions is this PvP thing that comes up where you get 10 people that you can select out of like your clan or whatnot, your thing's going up, and you've got to fight it out, and then you get 40 random people. And this is another issue that is pretty prevalent and needs to probably be fixed, because on one hand, if it's your territory, right, and you're defending your territory, you don't want 40 random people. However, at the same time, because these are 50 on 50 things, trying to get 50 people together to defend something isn't the easiest task in today's world. It was hard enough back in the day sometimes, to do a 40-man raid, let alone doing a 50-man raid to defend your territory live. And it's not like it's something that you can choose to do or not to do, because if you don't show up, you lose, and you would lose your stuff and all this other things, and your settlement and things. But anyway, there needs to be another way about doing this. So this is the issue. You can choose the 10, and then the leader can kick, or will get 40 random people after that. They can, of course, kick these people. So if their rest of their team or whatnot, the rest of their settlement, their guild, whatever we're calling it, is queued up, they can just kick people until their people show up in the listing, right? And that's not fair to solo players, for one, who are not part of the thing. And just in the interest of fairness, they'll never, if people really do go on this and get 50 people who are regular doing this, that, and the other, they're not going to be able to ever really participate in the system without being one of those people. And of course, if you're not geared enough, that's another thing. There's another issue, of course, when it comes to all this, that you can report people, which naturally you should be able to report people, right? You can spam report them. So if your team is going against another team and you know who their best players are, you just spam report them. They're going to be probably out of the game for the next 24 hours, because by the time it takes, whoever in Amazon to appeal the decision of the temporary 24-hour or so ban, the invasion's going to be long and over with at that point, which is another way to kind of cheat the system, where you can knock out another team's best players, and you don't have to really lift much of a finger to do it other than report them. That's another big issue that needs to, of course, be fixed. So I don't know how they allowed that. I understand that Amazon can't afford to apparently employ enough people to properly do a report system. So they made an automatic thing that will just automatically bounce you with no ifs, ands, or says about it, that doesn't know anything. But hey, who am I? But the other thing is resource gathering. When it comes to resource gathering and those professions and stuff, whole litany of issues, right? When it comes to actually grinding up the professions, some professions you can go to certain spots and completely grind them up within hours to max, right? Or less than that, if you know what you're doing. And while that's kind of cool, it's quick to do that, there are, of course, other professions. So this is a problem with balancing, right? Balancing is horribly off in this game. While there's other professions, you can't do that. They're of course locked behind nodes and stuff. And of course, that's the difference between, say, skinning and not skinning. And I can understand skinning has a buff, or kind of have a buff, because the only thing that keeps you from doing it is the amount of mobs that are around. But there's ways to fix this. There really is. I don't know if, I think WoW has been set itself up to a point that where it doesn't really matter. It just raises now, no matter where you are. But at one point in time, in order to level skinning, you had to be in a zone with mobs of an appropriate level for that appropriate level of skinning in order for you to skin and gain a point. And then after so long, it would go like green and then go gray, so you don't gain any more experience from it, just like leveling does in World of Warcraft. And of course, if a mob is too high in power compared to your skinning level, it will be red and you can't actually skin it. That sort of thing. That's why way back in the day, you had to get a special dagger, equip it in order to get just enough skinning points, even at max, because you had to have had max skinning and then this knife equipped just to skin a Nixia for her materials, so you could actually make that in-game stuff, right? Which I thought was really cool to do that. It really showed you who was doing what and all this other stuff. Anyway, the point is, there's ways around this to slow it down where it's not to a point that they just can't do it, right? There's ways to balance this. The fact that nodes don't come back that quickly, they need to, I guess, be sped up a little bit and all this other stuff. But yeah, balancing there, really bad. Of course, the other thing when it comes to professions is things that are needed by a profession, but not accessible in the game, right? There apparently is some regents in the game, mats, whatever we're calling them, that they're so rare they don't actually exist. I think last week there was actually a report of a few of these items actually findable finally. And or somebody had actually found one or two supposedly, but I didn't actually see any proof of it. I just heard that they claimed on Reddit, but I never actually saw anything or saw a screenshot to back it up. But there are apparently mats that just don't exist in the game but are needed for in-game stuff that professions need to do. Of course, another thing when it comes to it is the I want to call them rifts, but they're not portals. The whatchamacallits. Like I said, I other games have done it better at this point. Anyway, there's this other in-game activity, right? There you get a staff, you use it to close the staff. Well, those were bugged for the longest times as well. I think recently they finally got those kind of fixed. And they, of course, also drop in-game material that you are required for in-game professions as well. And if you can't close them, you can't gain access to the items or the in-game material. Therefore, if they're bugged and you've wasted the time to do it, and then it won't close, you can't actually get the stuff you need. So that was another issue. I don't really know anything about the fishing, but you're welcome to come read that. I'm not going to go into it too much. Oh, this is rare drops. This is where I was talking about just now, wasn't it? But yeah, there's of course other things. The storage shed, which is another thing that I don't understand this at all, because there are people who defend the bank, right? You've got all these different settlements and stuff. And they have banks and stuff in it, and you can put something in the bank. Now, how this game is set up is there are essentially crafting benches, right? You've got to be at one to craft the thing, and I'm not a stranger to it. I remember having to go to the correct spot in Shatter or whatnot for my alchemy to properly craft. And that's fine. I'm okay with that sort of thing. The problem is when you put things in the bank, and then the bank is on the other side of the world that you put it in, but the town that crafting bench is in, it's not in that bank. That needs to be fixed. I'm sorry. There are people who will defend this and say, well, it's more realistic. And there's freaking magic, in this game. Yeah, I know it's not listed as a fantasy MMO, but for all intents and purposes, it is. And I don't think there should be a reason for me not to be able to access my material. And when you take into the time of having to spend to get from one spot to the next spot, and then you get all the way over there and realize your high-end material is in that settlement way over there, and you're way over here, it's a big pain in the ass that doesn't need to exist. Honestly, in my opinion. Fix that, seriously. That's more of a pain than it is anything, and we're not here for realism. I'm sorry. This game is not about realism. Otherwise, there would be people not running around with guns and casting magic and junk. But anyway, and of course, there's quest swimming issues, among other stuff. The quests are really, really boring. They're very, very generic. And the story, oh my gosh, the story. If the story was good, I don't even know what the factions do. I'm not gonna lie. I have no idea what these three factions do other than what they kind of look like. differentiating them from them, because there's no real reason for me to be with one or the other. There's no reason whatsoever other than maybe their looks. That's it. As far as I can tell, they're all the same. They've just got different names, and they look different, and their quests are boring and not worth the time, and all this other stuff, and that's just horrible. The other things, the more egregious things right now that are broken in this game, and I could have done this in like 2 videos because this is going to be a long one, right? This is just me ranting at this point. So, you know, it's broken, and there's a lot of issues on the client side. And dog, Bella, get out of there. Anyway, so there's a lot of issues with New World and the client side. The client, right? The window that you play in. They have put way too much power in there for some reason. Like, there is way too much that client has control over. I don't know why. I don't see who thought that was a great idea, but apparently it's to the point that you could move the screen around. Like, you could hit escape, move it, and it would freeze everything on your side, right? And keep you invulnerable in the game. Now, they fixed that to an extent. As of a few days ago, it was confirmed that I'm going to punt a dog if she doesn't stop chewing on that. Yeah, get over here. Anyway, that it was confirmed that they fixed that portion of it. However, if you dodge roll, yeah, if you dodge roll and in the middle of the invulnerability frame, then go ahead and start moving your client around with your mouse, you will be invincible during that motion. According to the server, you are still in the middle of a roll. According to your client, you're still in the middle of a roll, and yeah, nothing damages you during that time, so that's still an issue. Another thing is the chat. Wow, the chat. I'm pretty sure World of Warcraft made this mistake in the early day as well, and several others have as well. Like, I'm pretty STO had a thing in his chat that also got disabled at one point as well. But essentially, you can run HTML code from the chat. You can just run code from the chat. And with it, you can make things, you know, pictures show up that shouldn't be there, blow things up to be bigger than they really are, and other stuff. The infamous flashbang event, as it was called, the flashbang, where just a yellow square is just filling up the entire screen. For other players and stuff, and there's just a little sliver that you can see in things. So there was that, or there is that, and then of course there's code that can crash your game. So if you were to wrap it around something and say, you know, hey, check this out, it's freaking awesome, and link an item or whatnot, and then somebody goes to close to curse over it to see what it is, the game crashes. Great thing to do if you want to just crash everybody. The economy, of course, is on fire. It is completely destroyed. Amazon made a very amateur mistake at the very beginning where they were having problems with too many people, right? So they opened a ton of servers because that apparently was the best thing to do, and then they stopped people from making things on servers, the really high population servers. So that's another issue. So right now the game is dwindling in numbers really quickly as a result, because you can't really make characters on the overpopulated servers. You know, so if somebody's friend is, of course, over there, they've been promised that they can be transferred over there, but that means they're playing by themselves right now, without their friends and things. And then you've, of course, got the fact that there's so many different servers that the population, since it's dwindling because of all these other issues, it's making it really hard to play and do things on those servers as well. So there's that issue as well. I said as well like multiple times in a row, didn't I? There's just so much here. Like, this game was average. At first look, when I first looked into this, when I first started messing with it, it was average. It really was. It wasn't anything spectacular. It was just fresh paint on a system we've seen 1,000 times, and it looked new. It looked great. I mean, graphically wise, it's fantastic. It's like when I first looked at Final Fantasy 14 for the first time. Graphically, compared to say World of Warcraft, so much better. Avion, graphically, freaking amazing. Avion, was it Avion? Avalon? Can't remember what it was called. Aeon? Aeon. I think it was Aeon. You got wings. Anyway, it has its points and it's great looking, but it was average. And then people made it to the end game. And then the cracks started to show. There were items that were uncraftable because the material just didn't exist no matter how much anyone farmed. There were systems in the end game that were broken. I can't remember what the heck it's called, but there's this one in-game event that requires you to get a key, right? It gets this little stone something another. That's another issue. The thing is, this thing that you need in order to open it is a craftable item. Sounds great, right? So if a crafter craft these, they can then sell them on the auction house, make money by providing a service to the rest of the players. No, they can't, because it's bind on pickup. Who? Okay. This is going to be me rant for a sec. Real rant. Who the fuck puts an in-game key to an in-game activity on the PvE level on a bind on motherfucking pickup by a crafter? Whose bright idea at Amazon was that? Because you need to go be taken behind the shed and not just tapped once, not tapped twice, tapped 50 fucking times by firing squad. That was the dumbest thing I think I have ever seen anyone do. Let's build this in-game, supposed to be one of our in-game events for the PvE side that everybody's going to want to do, everybody needs to do for this, that, and the other, and then let's put it to be craftable by an in-game profession recipe. All right, love it. It's great. That's amazing, because not only do you give profession something to do, makes the profession worthwhile having and viable to be doing at in-game, but then they can supply that on the marketplace for they're not going to be able to sell it. What do you mean they're not going to be able to sell it? No, it's going to be bind on pickup. What? So you need to have the professionist with you? Yeah. They're going to have to join the... No! That is the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard. No, you make it not bind on pickup. You don't make it soulbound at all. You sell the damn shit. So this way, the profession who may has no want or need to go do this thing, the guy who's doing the profession doesn't be forced to go with the group and say, hey, I've got this, I'll sell it to you, I need half of it now, and I'll go open it up, and then I will leave the party and leave, and force them to walk all the way over there to just unlock a door, or go through the whole thing if they don't want to. That the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard. It was dumb, okay? That needs to be fixed. Yeah, so I'm done. Tell me what you think about New World. See you in the next one.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.